Hey everyone, it's Alison Heikkila. Thank you so much for joining me. There are staples in our stashes, right? There are things that, you reach for time and time again, and that's going to vary depending on who you are, what your style is, what you have in your craft stash. But for me, a stripe is something that pretty much everybody can use at some point or another, probably many times over, because just a good thing to have. And this month, for June 2025, the Hero Studio Cling Stamp of the Month is this fantastic stripe. I really like it because it's not just, one size stripe across the whole thing. It's got a couple of sizes. I think that it's really cool, and I'm going to use the heck out of it. I've got some suggestions. We're going to go through some different ways that you can use this, because a stripe doesn't have to just be a static stripe. You can make it as interesting or as simple as you want it to be. My first example is this one. Now, I used Morning Frost ink from Altenew, and I kept it really basic. Just inked up the stamp with the one color, created a panel, and made this really fun beachy card. You can see it's kind of splotchy, and that's because I did that by design. I didn't want it to be super solid. You can make it super solid, but I wanted it to be a little worn, kind of coastal, right? You get the idea. So that is one way that you can use this, and straight out of the box, that's pretty obvious. But let's dive into some other ways that you can use this stamp and make it even more exciting and interesting and stretch the value of it. So my next example is going to be using the Bellini ink from Catherine Pooler. We're going to be using all Catherine Pooler inks today. And this is, again, kind of basic, but let's just work from basic up to more exciting. So I've covered the stamp with the Bellini ink, and now I'm spritzing it with water. I'm placing my piece of cardstock in the corner, and I am pressing the door down to get a good impression. Now, Catherine Pooler inks are water reactive, just like your Distress inks and some other brands out there. So you get this cool look that is distressed and funky just by adding some water. So that's an easy way to kind of make the stripe more exciting right off the bat. I'm taking that Bellini ink again, and I'm adding it just to the top of the stamp, and I'm spritzing it with water. I'm going to press that down, and when we open this up, you're going to see that we have the beginning of a cool background. So I'm going to clean off my stamp, because the next color that I'm going to use is Tiara ink, which is a golden yellow color. And I'm going to apply that to the lower half of the stamp. There are a few ways that you can do this. I take my stamp chamois and I kind of wipe the top of it off to kind of get a more blended look. But you can also go in with a blending brush and kind of stipple the bottom of the color from one to the other and get a blended look that way. I wasn't real concerned about that right now. I just wanted to get the effect, right? So I applied that Tiara ink a couple of times, and it's not my best work, guys, but you get the idea. Here, I placed my cardstock in at an angle into my stamp platform, and I applied Garden Party Catherine Pooler ink. And now we're going to have that stripe at a diagonal, which is super cool. I really like this. Now, you have to imagine that it doesn't go to the edge, so you have to kind of fix that, or you can use paper or pattern paper, things like that, to kind of hide the fact that it doesn't go to the edge. But you can also make it work and just move your stamp or cardstock over to get it to go the full panel. I wasn't real concerned about that right now. Again, I just wanted to give you some quick ideas on what to do with this stripe. So now I'm going in with Bellini ink, and I'm going to apply the color just to the first few stripes that are on the cardstock. I start off with only a couple, but then I'm like, you know what? Let's go a little further with that. Now I have the Tiara ink, although I think I might be using Bellini again. I don't know. I don't remember, guys. It was only like a half hour ago. You'd think I'd remember what I just did. Okay, here we go. There's the Tiara ink, and I'm cleaning the stamp off each time so that I don't get any color that I don't want in my ink pad. My Tiara wound up being a little bit dirty later on, but don't worry about that. I can clean it off. So now I'm going to use that Garden Party again, which is a really great green. It's such a nice color. And after I finish with the Garden Party, I'm going to fill in the rest of the space with Cummerbund. You'll see that in a second. There it is. Such a nice color. And look at how nice that stripe is. Simple, quick to do. If you want it to be more exact, you can certainly mask off the different stripes so that you have it, really perfect. But that's not my jam. I don't mind the colors blending a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to take Tiara, and I've got that all inked up across the entire space of the panel. And I'm going to apply that ink, I think twice. There we go. Did it again. And then we're going to, a third time, because there's kind of a dead zone on my platform. So I need to kind of be wary of that when I'm inking things up. But I don't really mind it looking kind of aged and distressed. So now I'm going to turn that, and we're going to make a plaid. Got that Cummerbund again, and I'm going to apply that across the entire area. This is nice because the Catherine Pooler inks, again, just like other dye-based inks, they're translucent. So when you layer them on top of each other, you can create new colors. So by giving that piece of cardstock a 90-degree rotation, now we can simply create a plaid. And I've got that color applied a couple of times. Again, that dead zone you can kind of see in the middle there. Just want to get a little bit more ink in that area. But how simple is that? Look at that. Isn't that a cool plaid? And you can, shift this over and get different versions and things like that. But those are some really easy ways to take a simple stripe and kind of up the excitement with it a little bit. And a stripe is, like I said, a great staple to have in your stash. So that's it for me today. No full project to do. I just wanted to give you some fun ideas. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'll be back very soon. Be well, stay safe. Peace out.